talked on the plane. That was pretty quick. I thought it was going to go longer.
How did that go?
Yeah, pretty. She was like, so are we playing next year? I was like, am I allowed to play next year? I said, and she's like, well, are you telling me or asking? I was like, I'm always asking. I would love for you to be in full support. She said you got 100% support, so that was pretty quick. Yeah. She demanded something, and I acquiesced, and then she acquiesced to what I demanded, and it was pretty. And that's what we call solid negotiation. Everybody left happy.
Does that mean it's here? You'd like to be here? Maybe the kids are here.
Where else would I rather be? Unless, again, I think we've said it. At least we beat this drum 3,000 times over the last 5 years. Until they don't want me anymore, this is where I've always wanted to be. I showed that time and time and again, and all I ask for is the right opportunity to give myself a chance to display my ability, which some would say is a team leading situation.
I know you talked about it yesterday on the podium a little bit. You said the word appreciation. You want to be somewhere where you appreciate it. Absolutely. 15 years into it, after the 15th, do you still feel appreciated here? Absolutely.
You talk about what the city means to me and how I feel about the city, and the city tells me every day. Being out, being able to talk to these schools, being able to start my foundation here, being able to send kids from Louisiana to colleges. Man, I'm overly blessed, and I'm always appreciative of the opportunities I'm even being put in positions in. In terms of team appreciation, we have one of the best locker rooms. It sucks this year that we didn't have more success, because even the guys that get added on late, you talk about it's time, or estimate. This is the proper name. Audric has been phenomenal. Evan's been great. Ronnie Bell. Our core guys. You talk about Demario Davis. You talk about Brian Brzee. Chase Young, the way he's came on this year, and just the young guys that came through, Jonas Shanker to Quincy Riley, you'd probably say Jonas leading the charge, Tyler leading the charge. The way that he came on strong last night. There's so many great people in this locker room. You talking about Ike, Mike. We can go through the game, and I miss Rashid Shaheed the moment he left. We had so many good people in this locker room. So to go into this off season and be in a place that I've never been before, okay, but to leave this locker room in general, that's what hurts the most.
When you come off a 6-win season, sometimes you feel kind of down, but it feels like the way you finished strong, there's a lot of optimism out there, and everyone seems to be happy and ready to get back out there.
There's nothing happy about a losing season. Remorseful for sure, because again, great locker room, because we showed promise in the right months. November, December, we didn't lose much if we lost it all, minus this last game. You talk about if you had 2 plays back from 2 different games, we're in the playoffs. When it comes down to that, that's the shit that you're going to think about for the rest of the offseason. But it's got to be there. It adds a chip to the shoulder. You have to be able to dig deep and figure out how to be the best version of you, better than you were the year before.
I know your agent is going to be the one that handles negotiations.
Absolutely.
Do you have any conversation though with Mickey as far as?
No. If I've talked to Mickey, it's probably the same questions that you guys ask. How much longer do you want to play, and whatever it is. The Saints have done nothing but showed that they want me to be here. Now, at what price? Some would say half off this last year. Can't do that again.
Seemed as though you maybe aged backwards this season.
Or just was given an opportunity to present that.
Sure. How much was it in exclamation mark as far as your future here this season?
The moment I got drafted black and gold, I figured I'd die in gold and black, however you put it, Cam Jordan and black and gold have been synonymous. And I've always worked to have it stay that way. Like I said, I love my D-line. Talk about, again, beyond just Chase, Carl Granderson put together one of the craziest stat lines in the world yesterday, and nobody's talking about it. 10 tackles, 3 TFLs, a sack and a half, an interception. Hell, what didn't he do? And that's just the edge room alone. I think we had 22 tackles, 20 tackles between the edge, Chris Rumph included. The interior D-line, even at half mast as we were yesterday, still created production. Jonah Williams is probably not going to be talked about enough, and it's just his surges this year. We talk about me. I'm going to continue working. I'm probably never going to change my work ethic or my drive or how I like to make fun of the Falcons.
And to that point, what was it like playing under Staley this season?
Different. To have as much freedom as you have in a system like his. your ability to make plays, So it takes you back to the first defense I was in when it was like, hey, sometimes you just got to check whoop ass. This one is like, hey, you got liberties. So you can gain more liberties or lose liberties depending on, the outcome. And you love that. You love being able to just ball sometimes.
Cam, there's a lot of obvious stuff that comes with having a young quarterback with a contract, sort of stuff that is good for a franchise. But like from the locker room standpoint, when you have a rookie come in and do what Tyler did, like what does that do for a team? To know that's there.
To have Tyler do what he did, you got something you can work on the next year. You talk about how he just came in and it wasn't that I think Spencer was playing well.
Yeah.
And Tyler almost got put in an awkward position and looked like he just never looked back. And the way he was able to take to the field, and you saw him grow game after game after game after game. And even this last one, it was like interception. Okay, that could rattle some people. Tyler went back there and walked them down himself. 6 showed up in a lot of ways. And you love to see that from a young guy, and you just wish you had him back 6 years ago. So I'm like, dang, we got 7 years to grow, And now it's like the closer you get to the end of the tunnel, you're like, man, every day is more precious than the last. Every game more precious than the last. And it's like, how many more games can I play with a guy like Tyler Sharp? You see a guy like Kevin Banks come in and have that success that he had his rookie year. You've got a young core, Taliesin, like a young core that is going to be formidable soon. You just want to be a part of it.
To see just all the potential, of the young core to be
I love and hate that word.
to be a couple plays away from the playoffs, like you said. Just how motivating can that be in the off season? And do you kind of believe in momentum carrying over from one season?
Absolutely not. No, you could go 13-3 one season and not make the playoffs the next.
Yeah.
Like I did that for rookie the second year. I put it in like your core guys, and you hope not to lose them. You know that in any locker room, you can have guys that won bigger contracts, won whatever it is, and not have the same guys. Some guys that are up for bigger contracts, and there's going to be some teams that are going to see that value. You can't take for granted the locker room that you have this year and think that it's just going to be better next year. It could reset, and you have to bring in some toxic energy, then you have to deal with that. You could reset and find an even better core guy. No locker room is ever going to stay the same. So that's why you got to be blessed enough to be a part of and recognize how great of a locker room this year's was.
What is the biggest thing you take away from being with Kelly for a year and just learning, I guess, how he is?
Man, when you go from Sean to DA to Kellen is for sure a quarterback. He's very much a positive through and through guy. And you see his moniker this year, tough, together, joy. I can buy into the first two. I have joy in whooping somebody's ass. So like my joy comes different. But when it comes down to, I'm thinking trench warfare. Sometimes you don't need joy. Sometimes you need a little animosity. And that's where veteran leadership and defensive leadership chimes in. You can take joy in all the wins and all the successes. You can take joy in the processing of a failure. But no. You find true joy through winning. Hopefully we do a lot more of that next year.
Does he ever get mad? Does he have a curse?
That's a very Tyler question. I feel like it's
talking about Kellen.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very Tyler question. I feel like you probably have more intimate talks when you talk about what he is. And to me, he's an offensive mind, and for all reasons, things better be going really wrong for us to be having longer conversations than, all right, how's the locker room? And we go on. So we have, and I don't think so. I wonder, can he?
Cam, one of the first names you mentioned today was Jonas Sanker. One of the first names Demario mentioned yesterday.
Yeah.
Came in behind Tyron. Tyron's gone, then Julian comes in. Julian goes down. Just for him to be one of the first names that comes to mind for both of you, what kind of impression has he made as a rookie?
As a rookie, I mean, he took the field and showed range, made big plays from jump, a lot like Quincy Riley's first couple snaps. Q Riley comes in and creates forced fumble. Jonas comes in, gets an interception, comes downhill, makes a couple tackles. You're like, okay. You already knew you had a stud in Alontae Taylor that can make those open field tackles. It's great when you compare them up. I think, that this speaks highly of how we've drafted the last couple of years to see that kind of success that even, second year Kool-Aid took off this year. I didn't see that level of growth from last year to this year. I was expecting that kind of jump, and he impressed me every way through. Our DBs at some point have been thoroughly impressive the last 7 games.
Chase kind of mentioned finding his home here, and he mentioned you and DeMario as leaders, kind of credited y'all for that. How much have you just relished being a leader in this locker room specifically?
I don't know if I'm a leader or not. I just know who I am as a person. And I've never had to change or be something that I'm not. And if you've talked to Chase, he doesn't change for you know what I'm saying. But he's embraced our culture for sure. And if anything, he's accepted the challenge of getting better, and he understands what it is to be able to play each and every snap, and not pick and choose or whatever those questions were about him. He's been a great addition to the team, and you've seen how he's taken off this year. I love when he has that kind of success.
The defense overall, I mean, maybe you answered this already, but top 10, I mean, how encouraging was it in the absence of winning? How encouraging was just the defensive performance and the way Brandon Staley?
Yeah, we ended up losing the game yesterday. You look at our defensive metrics, you're like, man, we had a solid day. You hold a guy like Bijan Robinson, who probably is the best running back in the league with his abilities, and to limit him sub 3 a carry. But if you take away 2 of those runs, it's probably going to be right where we want it to be. But that goes back to how I feel about the locker room. Like, we're making those strides. You're like, dang, I just wish we had a couple more opportunities.
Top 10 though, right?
I don't. You tell me. I don't look at outside stats. I don't look at things that affect me. How my D-line playing, how my linebackers playing, how my safety playing. Whether we finished 32nd or whether we finished first, I probably know if we finished first, I'll be probably rest my hat on that one. When you finish top 10, phenomenal, great. Hopefully that bodes well and rolls on into next year.